Welcome back, everybody, to a brand new video. Here is the map, and as we've been doing, we have been previewing what I like to call the Big Seven, the Big Seven states that will determine the 2024 election. And these are Nevada, Arizona, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, and Georgia. I filled out the rest of the map of what I assume to be the case. I think the only two issues with this map would be potentially Virginia being a little closer, and maybe even a flip there, and then Nebraska second. But other than that, this is how I see the map on August 16th, 2024. The last time we did this video, we focused on Georgia, and we went ahead and put North Carolina in Trump's column. So I'm going to put that back where we have it. And today, we are focusing on the great state of Arizona. Arizona being the state that Joe Biden flipped from 2020. He became one of the first Democrats to win Arizona in a few elections. I can't remember the last election that happened, but it was a pretty big win for the Democrats. He won the state 1,672,143 votes to Donald Trump's 1,661,686 votes. If you remember back in 2016, Donald Trump took the state from Hillary Clinton by about 4 points, and Biden won this state by 0.3. So, while when you look at the map, this is not a necessary victory state for Donald Trump, I wanted to go through this video and show why he is definitely on track to take this state and put another 11 electoral votes into his column. So let's remember back from 2020 of why Joe Biden won this state, why he was able to flip it. There's a couple of reasons, obviously. You had number one, the Trump campaign was just simply out of money, and they were really running dry. And Biden just kept hammering home COVID. We were in a political climate. And even on probably the best day for the Democrats as they won this trifecta, he was only able to flip the state by 11,000 votes. So this is, not that much. And if you watched my Georgia video, you'll know that I really do believe the turnout is going to be a lot less than this. I think turnout is not going to be as high as it was in 2020. So when you look 2 years later and you look at the governor's race there for Kari Lake and Katie Hobbs, and you look in the 2022 midterms just of how much this state has even gone left, and this is Mark Kelly versus Blake Masters and the Senate race there. When you look at the 22 comparison, you see all of these left leanings and how the state is trending more left, and that Democrats feel like that they may never lose this state again, and maybe this is just a solid blue state from now on. And I just don't see that to be the case. First off, let's not forget that Blake Masters was just a terrible candidate. I mean, when you think about it, Kari Lake even outperformed him. He finished with about 4 points behind for the senatorship, and she finished barely a half a point behind. She only lost by 17,000 votes. So Kari Lake outperformed him. So Blake Masters, obviously, he had that endorsement from Trump, but like we've seen in a lot of these elections, for some reason, the people just don't go out and vote. Republicans just don't go out and vote when Trump is not on the top of the ticket. So Trump being on the top of the ticket, to me, tells me that Arizona is definitely in play, and I would kind of disregard the 2022 midterms in this state. So let's look at the polls. This is what the polls have. Donald Trump maintaining about a 0.8% lead over Vice President Harris. We haven't had a lot of new polling. The last poll we had was on August 8th out of Arizona. And the two polls that had Kamala Harris leading, those were basically directly after she announced her candidacy, and not really the best two polls in Bloomberg and Cook County Political Report. And then you had the Hill and Emerson, which Emerson's obviously one of the best pollers in the country, +5 for Trump. So if you look at the way this has shifted since Biden withdrew the race, you see this kind of closing of the gap, and it just doesn't make sense to me. And you look at Kamala Harris's favorable, unfavorable ratings here. In July 11th, so this is I think the day that Trump got shot, actually. This just doesn't just change overnight like this. This is just impossible. That just doesn't happen. You don't go from probably one of the worst vice presidents in the history of our country to a net 49, under 50% unfavorable rating Just doesn't happen overnight. So how does Donald Trump win this state? Well, first off, you hammer home what Kamala Harris stands for. You hammer home, the border. These are smart Arizonans. They understand it. They understand the issues. So I want to show you why I think Donald Trump is going to win. Let's first start with Doug Ducey. Doug Ducey, not a big fan of his. Obviously, the former governor of Arizona. He gave the endorsement just actually a couple days ago to Donald Trump and Kari Lake in the Senate race. And this is big. He's a moderate. He is what some people on the right would call a rhino. And for him to come out and endorse Donald Trump can give some of security for this state for Donald Trump in the fact that he went through all of the issues that should be just pounded every time we talk about Arizona. And the border must be secured. Inflation must be tamed. Arizona must be respected around the globe. The Supreme Court, TCJA, school choice, all of these things that the Republicans have to just hammer home, and apparently it's working, and this is why I think another big reason why. You look at Arizona voter registration update since April. The Republicans at 1,436,757, that's up 18,000 votes just right there. The Democrats are actually slipped since April. They went minus 11,749 votes. Independents, obviously, there's just a huge amount of independents out there in the state of Arizona, and we'll see where they break. Trump is considerably winning the independent vote so far in most of the polling data that I've seen, and we'll see if that continues to be the case. So if you look at national voter registration changes over the past couple of months, this was in July, Arizona 19,000, plus 19,000 in Arizona, Democrats only plus 3,000. So registration, ad revenue buying, and an increased turnout for Donald Trump versus Kamala Harris, I think puts the map, especially in Donald Trump's favor. And like I said, the whole thing comes down to Maricopa County. Maricopa County, obviously, where Phoenix is, where this is right here is 1,900,000 votes out of the 3.5 million votes in the state. So this is almost a third of all the votes just coming out of Maricopa County. I still think turnout's going to be lower, and I think turnout's going to be probably down by around 5%. And I do think this, Donald Trump won Maricopa County in 2016. He won it by 3 points. I do think Maricopa County will shift back right a little bit. When it shifted left by 5 points in 2020. And then, in 2022, again, it's hard to take the midterms for anything, but 4.2 more points. So it's almost, 9 points in favor of the Democrats. I think that's going to come down a little bit. So I'm going to say Republicans gained about 5 points there in Maricopa County. Let's actually say 4. I think the Democrats will still win the state, or rather win the county of Maricopa. I just think it'll be closer. I think the Republicans will have an increased turnout in Yuma County, and again, turnout's still going to be lower than what we've seen. I think the Republicans can increase their turnout in Coquise County, right on the border, and again, these are smart Arizonans, and I think they're just going to galvanize the base. So if I have my results, I still think that the Republicans are going to take back this state. And, I think I did this wrong. Oh, D plus 4. No, I need minus 4. That's what it was. Yeah, there we go. But yeah, so right here, if you just adjust for those margins, you're right there. You're 1,000 votes off. Again, Donald Trump going to increase his turnout here. Some of his base is going to come out and vote, and that's not going to be a question. And that's eventually what's going to flip Arizona and put it in his column, and he'll be well on his way to 270. And next time we'll talk about one of these other states, and I'll probably put a poll out on Instagram like I did for the last one, and we'll talk about them. And but right now, I think Donald Trump will win this state probably by around 2 or 3 points. I think it will go to him by around 2 or 3 points. The polls right now say around 1 point if you're adjusting, but I think it'll go to him about 2 or 3 points. Again, I think this is Maricopa County is gonna go right probably by 4 points. I think they're gonna win this Maricopa County. If they win Maricopa County, it's over. In Arizona for the Democrats. If they win Maricopa County, and that's a 3-point victory right there. So I think they're going to flip it. We'll see what happens, but thanks for watching. We'll be back for more later on the channel.